Hello friends, welcome to CEC online lectures on standard costing. Myself Aditya P. Tripathi, I am here to continue our discussion on the topic of standard costing today. As you know that due to this COVID-19 pandemic, everybody is locked up into their homes, and during this tough time, CEC is committed to reach to their students even when they are locked into their homes, and it is quite obvious that we have to stay at home, we have to stay safe. So keeping that in mind, we have decided to record the lectures at our homes only. So obviously the kind of setup we have at CEC, that is not here, but still we are somehow trying to catch up with the requirement of this particular time, which is quite tough for us. So getting aligned with that, let's start our lecture on standard costing today. I'll be telling you about the basics of standard costing, which is very much useful into the managerial decisions. When we go for accounting for managerial decisions or management accounting, there we are using this topic of standard costing as a tool for decision making process. So as the topic itself is indicating that we are going to talk about standard costing, which means this is going to be a costing technique or technique of a cost accounting, where we are having certain type of standards, and those standards are going to be compared with the actual performance, and then eventually we try to compare whether the standards are met or not, whether the actual performance is getting aligned with the standard or not, and if there is some deviation or variances, what are the possible reasons for that, so that the corrective actions can be taken for that. So let me first tell you about the standard costing, what the standard costing is. In standard costing, we have to have a proper setup of setting the standards or deciding standards pertaining to our say costing. That is, it may be material, it may be labor, it may be overheads, or roughly we can say all three components of our cost, that is material, labor and overheads. So for all these three components, what we do, we decide a standard, and then those standards are compared with the actual performance or the actual cost. And if there is some variance, we have to find out that variance, that whether the standard is equal to actual, or it is less than actual, or it is more than actual. So there can be three possible situations. One is the standard is exactly equal to the actual, then it is quite good that our actual performance is going with the standard. If the standard is greater and actual is less, or you can say if the actual cost is less than standard cost, then it is good, favorable situation. But again, we have a doubt that why this situation came, whether our standards are redundant, whether our standards are positive or not, whether our standards are in sync with the actual production process or not. So that also raises a point of concern, that if my factory or my employees are able to produce something at less than the standard cost, then we are worried that are we not compromising with the quality. So we have to find out that we should not compromise with the quality of product at any stage. So that is also a point of concern in today's environment. So we have to keep this thing in mind while computing the standard cost and comparing it with the actual cost. So roughly speaking, in standard costing, what we do, we have to set a standard related to certain component of cost. It may be material, it may be labor, it may be overheads, and once this particular cost is actually computed, we have decided the standard, we have to estimate the actual cost, and then the actual cost is compared with the standard to draw the differences, that if there is any difference or variance, we have to take the corrective steps for that. So this is roughly about the standard costing. When we talk about the meaning of the standard costing, when we have to define it scientifically, we say that standard costing is a specialized technique of cost accounting to control the cost. It's a specialized technique of standard costing to control the cost. So always remember that our prime motto or the ultimate motto is to control the cost in this entire process of standard costing. We have to always keep two statements in our mind. One is that what product should have costed, I'm repeating it once again. What product should have costed? And the second is, what did it actually cost? What it did actually cost. So what was supposed to happen and what actually happened, that is going to be our point of comparison here. We have to compare the actual cost with that of standard cost, so to draw the differences, to find out the variances. And for that we are following a method called standard costing, because we have a standard, and after having the standard we have to compare it with the actual cost so that we can draw the differences, right? Now let's talk about the management cycle. What management cycle says? Management cycle says that in today's globally competitive environment, new standards or measurements are necessary, for the managers, because they are helping them in certain manners. Now the question comes, what exactly they are getting out of this new standards or measurements in terms of their control of cost, which is their prime motto, because they have to control the cost. So in what way, in what manner it is going to help us, that is going to be our point of concern here. The first very benefit which we are getting out of it is, it reduces the processing time. Once we have a standard for say labor hours, I know that in my factory certain item or product which I am producing, it can be manufactured in you can say 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever the standard is. So I can very easily have a control over or check over my worker, that why are you not able to produce this particular item or product in a stipulated time. So we can have a check into the real actual performance, because we have a standard for that. We already know that this is the standard time which our labor should take to produce this particular product. So if my labor is taking more than what the stipulated standard or time says, it means that we are lacking somewhere, and we can find out the reasons and take corrective measures or corrective steps for that. So in this way it is going to help us in reducing the processing time. The second most benefit which we are getting out of this standard costing is, it improves quality. Because when we are calculating the material variances, and I told you at the very outset, at times what happens, that my actual cost is less than the standard cost. So might be possible that in production process my worker out of ignorance or out of lack of clear instructions, they actually use wrong proportion of material, and in that way they might have compromised with the quality of product. So that can also be a situation where my cost is going in my favor, but what about quality? And we cannot survive in the market without maintaining the requisite quality of my production process. So I have to understand that every time cost controlling is not the only motive. Cost controlling is obviously the motive, but not at the cost of compromise with the quality of my product. Because the moment we are going to compromise with the quality of our product, what will happen? It will have a negative impact onto the customer satisfaction, and we will not be able to retain or regain our customers. We will neither be able to retain our existing customers and forget about getting the new customers. So the second benefit after reducing the processing time, what we get out of it is, it improves the quality of product. The next benefit which we are getting out of it is, obviously if you are maintaining the quality and you are reducing the processing time, then obviously your customer is going to be satisfied. So this is going to be your outcome, or you can say output out of that my customer is satisfied or delighted, because we are able to ensure the quality, the requisite quality of our product, which is ultimately our goal, to satisfy our customers. And not only this, if we are having standards for our material, labor and overheads, it also improves on-time deliveries. Because once your production process is completed within stipulated time, then obviously you can ensure the on-time deliveries as well. So this is what we get out of this standard costing system once you have. So these are the benefits of following a standard costing system. Now, after understanding the benefits of standard costing system, a very obvious question comes to the mind of our students, that sir, you have already taught us budgetary control. In budgetary control, you told us that we are exercising control via preparing budgets. We are having budgets for different motives, and with the help of those budgets, we are controlling the cost. My dear students, there we were using budgets at the top level or middle level of management. The management is preparing, the cash budget or different types of functional budget. I told you about fixed budget, flexible budget, cash budget. So they are preparing it at the top level or middle level of management. But remember, at the operating level or erstwhile lower level of management, now there is nothing like lower level of management. Now we talk about operating level of management because no level is low. So we have to keep this thing in mind, that every work is important and significant for the production process and for the organization. So we have to understand that it's no more lower level of management, it is actually operating level of management. So at the level of operations, or you can say at the level of production process, with a motive to control our cost, what we are doing, we are having a system called standard costing system. So at the level of factory itself, I'm going to exercise a control over my cost, and for that I'm following this system of standard costing. So I hope the difference is clear to you, that standard costing is is executed at the operating level, whereas budgetary control is executed at top level or middle level of management. So here at the level of factory itself, we are trying to exercise the control via setting standards and then comparing our actual performance with the set standards which we had set. So with this understanding, let's talk about the standard costing system in an organization. A standard costing system has traditionally been associated with certain things, and they were regarded as cost control activities. Whenever traditionally we used to talk about the standard costing system, their prime motto was to control the cost. Not only that, they were also supposed to conduct the evaluation of operating performance, that at the level of operations, what is the performance. And here comes the role of responsibility accounting. We have to decide, we have to find out the reason, the point of variance, that where the variance occur, and then we can have the responsibility account to affix the accountability of the person. We can account for the person who has actually committed this kind of mistake, or cause of which kind of flaw there is a variance in our actual cost in terms of material, labor, or overheads. It also talks about having a standard costing system. When we have a given or set standard costing system, there is a flow of acts, or you can say, while exercising the control, you have a flow of exercising control, and the flow starts with the computation of variance. But in the background, remember, in certain literature, when you study, you find that the beginning point is setting of standard. My dear students, always remember, the standard is already given to us in relation to all three components of cost, that is material, labor, and overheads. So those standards are given to us in relation to material, labor, and overheads. Now we have to compare those standards with the actual cost. So in certain books or in certain literatures, it is given that we have to first set standards and then we have to estimate the actual cost. But here I would slightly differ with the those steps, because it is already understood that we have a set standard in relation to material, labor, and overheads, because these are three components of our cost. Now out of these three components, that is called material, labor, and overheads, what we do for a given set of standards. Say for instance, I'm talking about material here. So I have a set standard for my cost of material, and then I'll have the calculated cost or the actual cost of material which I have incurred, because that information is in hand. So there is no point following any further strategy for that because it's an ongoing process, and instantly you can have this information from the costing department, that what is the actual cost of producing this particular product. Now we have a set standard, we have the actual cost. Once they are known to us, our next goal into standard costing will be that we have to find out the difference, which is technically known as variance. And here comes the term variance analysis. Now my dear students, after computing the variance, we have to analyze that variance. So the first very step is that we have to compute the variance. Once the variance is computed, now what is variance? Variance is the difference between the standard cost and actual cost. It can be anything, it can be positive, it can be negative, it can be zero. So whatever the variance or difference comes, our next role is to analyze it. Now in the process of variance analysis or analyzing variance, what we do, we have to first look at the value of variance, whether it is significant or it is insignificant. If it is really significant for us, then we shall be following the next steps. But if it is not at all significant, it is very nominal, or you can say, you can consider it to be insignificant. Say for instance, you decided the cost of material to be, say, 10 rupees, and the actual cost of material came to be 10 rupees and 10 paisa. Now, at times my students are asking me, sir, 10 paisa can be significant or insignificant? My dear students, always remember, even 1 paisa can cause great loss to the company. So you have to find out the real reason behind it. Remember, there might be a possibility that the difference is of 1 paisa, but it is not due to any external change. It is due to the, you can say, the lack of proper control over the material issue process, or there is pilferage or shortage going on. There is some theft into your factory which is going on. So we have to actually keep a track of the reasons. We have to at least assign the reasons for these variances. So we have to find out whether this difference or variance is significant or insignificant. See, when we are going to declare it to be insignificant, the situation in which we are aware about the possible reason for difference. If I know that this is the reason for difference, then obviously I would say that this differences or variance is insignificant, and there is no point further analyzing this particular variance. But in normal course of action, we suggest that whatever variance comes, we need to analyze, and we should not close this particular analysis, the process of analysis, without finding the real reason or the actual reason for this kind of variance. So the next step is, once I have decided that variance is significant, the next step will be that we have to determine the possible causes of variance. Say for instance, if I talk about material variance, material cost variance, after computing it, we have to find out that this variance in cost of material is due to which particular component. There can be two possible parts of it. One is material price variance, the second can be usage variance. So material cost variance can occur due to two possible reasons. One is either there is change in the price of material, or alternatively there can be difference in the usage of material. So remember, it can be either price variance or usage variance, or it can be combination of both. Might be possible that there is a slight change in the price of material along with the improper usage of material. So it can be the function of price variance and usage variance both, or it can be the result of only price variance or only usage variance. So we have to find out that if there is variance into cost of material, what can be the possible reason for it. We have to assign reasons to it, that why this happened. This should be our way of taking to this particular computation, that why this particular variance occurred. And once we have determined the causes of variances, we have to identify and analyze the performance measures to determine corrective action. So we have to not only identify but also analyze the performance measures to determine corrective action. And once we have decided, once we have identified and analyzed, we have to take corrective action. So roughly speaking, my dear students, in this entire process of standard costing, our job starts from the variance. We have to first find out the variance. We have to first take up the difference between the standard cost and actual cost, and then if it is significant, we have to go for analyzing it, and it culminates with the corrective action. It always culminates with the implementation of it, that I have found the reasons, I have found the basic reasons for differences, and then ultimately we have to take corrective actions. So in this standard costing system, if I have to tell you that what are the number of steps into this entire variance analysis, I would say there are 4 steps into this standard costing, or you can say variance analysis. The first step is you have to compute the variance. Computing variance means finding the difference between the standard cost and actual cost in relation to the specific component of cost. It can be material, it can be labor, it can be overheads. Once it is computed, the next step is you have to determine the cause. That you have to assign the reason to it, which can be attributed to this particular kind of difference, whether it is due to price or due to usage, or it is combination of both. So you have to determine the cause, and once this particular cause is determined, we have to identify the performance measures for it. That what should be the performance measure for it, and then obviously we have to culminate, with this, process of taking action to correct or continue. So we have to take corrective steps, or suppose if the reason is something like that which we can't eliminate, or you feel that this is something which is obvious now because the market has changed the price, there is some change in correction in the market price, or there might be a possibility that earlier you were availing cash discount from your supplier for the purchase of material. Now your supplier is saying that I'll not be providing you this particular privilege or cash discount. So you understand that we'll have to continue with this increase in cost, and accordingly what we do, we revise our standard, so that in future when we are computing the variance, there is no such variance due to this particular reason. So my dear students, when I'm saying that either you have to take corrective action or continue, so there might be a possibility that you are taking a corrective action because you could find the problem and you have to fix it. So you are fixing it, and then ultimately going ahead. So there is some reason for it, and that reason has been taken care of. But there might be a possibility, there can be a situation where the reason is beyond your control. There might be a possibility that you had a labor variance and labor has changed its rate, market has revised the rate, the rate of workers. For instance, there is some change into the labor laws, and government has revised the rate for skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled laborers, and you are directly connected with that. So obviously you have to revise your cost of labors. So this is going to affect your standard for this particular component of cost. So my dear students, we have to understand that you have to either take corrective steps or you have to continue with the given set of variance. And if we have to continue, then obviously the standard setter, those who are involved into the standard setting process, they are clearly communicated that this is going to be our revised standard for this particular component of cost. So with this, I hope you have understood that what are the different steps into this standard costing system. I told you about the basic of standard costing, what are the different steps into it, how it is different. There's a difference between budgetary control and standard costing. Budgetary control is at top level, whereas standard costing is at operating level or lower level, you can say, but I would say it is at operating level. Then we talked about that how to follow step-by-step strategy for this particular standard costing, what are the benefits coming out of the standard costing system, and then we talked about the 4-step process for this particular standard costing. Now moving ahead, I'll tell you about what we do into the standard costing system in terms of calculating variances. You have to calculate the standard cost. You have a set amount of standard cost for all 3 components of cost, and actual cost is already estimated. But in practical problems, you may have to estimate both standard as well as actual cost. Now after computing both the cost, that is standard and actual, we have to find out the reason for differences. My dear students, remember there can be 3 possibilities. Either your actual cost will be equal to standard cost, or it will be greater than standard cost, or it can be less than standard cost. There will not be any 4th possibility. I'm sure for that. So out of these 3 possibilities, after ascertaining that this is the difference, this is the situation of my variance, we have to assign a tag to it, whether it is favorable, adverse or neutral. Now depending on their impact on our major objective, that is cost control, that whether it is increasing my cost, or it is reducing my cost, or it has no impact on my cost. Depending on that, we have to assign a tag called favorable, adverse or neutral. And if you draw an acronym, it can be called as FAN, F-A-N. F stands for favorable, A stands for adverse, and N stands for neutral. When I say favorable, it means it should reduce your cost. If your actual cost is less than standard cost, then whatever value comes, it shall be assigned a tag called it shall be assigned a tag called favorable. If it is equal, if your actual cost is exactly equal to standard cost, then you can say that we can stay neutral. But if it says that standard cost is greater than less than actual cost, or you can say actual cost is much higher than the standard cost, we would say this is going to adversely affect our cost, so we'll be assigning it a tag of adverse. So in this way, my dear students, while attempting the numerical problems, again I'll be repeating you how to assign a tag of favorable, adverse and neutral, and depending on that we take corrective steps. So in this lecture of mine, I tried to make you understand about the basics of standard costing and the way we go ahead with this particular standard costing calculation. What are the different steps into this? I hope you must have understood. Thank you so much for your patient listening.